Hi, my name is Prithvi, and today I'll be showing you how to make chocolate chip cookies. The first step in this recipe is to gather all the ingredients. For this, we have half a cup of granulated sugar, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of softened butter, 1.5 cups all-purpose flour, and 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips, as well as half a teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. After we have gathered all the ingredients, we will start by mixing all the sugars, the butter, and the salt into a large bowl, and then we will whisk it until it's a soft substance. After whisking to a paste, we will add the sifted baking soda and the all-purpose flour. So after we add the baking soda and the flour, we will start to fold the dough using a spatula. If you fold the dough too much, the gluten in the flour will start to toughen and the cookies will start to taste more like cake, which we do not want. So while we are folding the dough, we will start to fold in the chocolate chips as well. So after the chocolate chips have been added and we fold the dough a couple more times, we will put this in the refrigerator. This recipe calls for putting in the refrigerator overnight because the longer the dough is in the refrigerator, the more complex the texture and the taste will be. So the cookie dough has now been chilled in the refrigerator for roughly 12 hours. The next step is to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. While the oven is being preheated to 350 degrees, let's get the baking sheet ready. On the baking sheet, we will place a layer of parchment paper and then we will start placing our cookie dough. Make sure that in between each clump of cookie dough, there's at least 2 inches of space. We need that 2 inches of space so that while the cookies are being baked in the oven, they don't clump together and that they can cook evenly. Now that the baking sheet is ready, let's place it in the oven. Make sure the oven has fully preheated to 350 degrees and then we're good to go. So we bake the cookies in the oven for 10 minutes at 350 degrees. As soon as it's done baking, we take it out and we cool it at room temperature for 5 minutes. As soon as it's finished cooling, you're good to enjoy. The art of baking requires the successful completion of numerous chemical reactions in order to get the desired product, the chocolate chip cookie. The first example is the folding of the dough. The flour and chocolate chips are added last so that the dough isn't being worked on for too long. This helps to keep the gluten complexes small. Gluten is extremely important in baking as it gives the cookies its round shape as well as the soft and chewy texture. Next is the actual act of baking. When the cookie dough heats up in the oven, the sucrose molecules from the granulated sugar and the brown sugar break down into glucose and fructose molecules, forming a polymer chain. As the sugars in the dough break down, they transform from a clear, odorless crystal into a brown, fragrant liquid. This breakdown of sucrose is what gives the cookie its light brown color and shiny crust. Heating up the baking soda, or the sodium bicarbonate, causes a chemical reaction and leads to the release of carbon dioxide gas as a byproduct. The carbon dioxide product forms the tiny bubbles found inside the cookie. The sodium chloride, or the salt, helps to keep the carbon dioxide bubbles from getting too big by slowing down the production of carbon dioxide in the reaction. The lipid molecules, or fat, found in the butter helps to keep the flour from forming an extensive network of gluten, which in turn gives the cookie a lighter texture. The egg also has an important role in the chemical reactions occurring during baking. The fat and proteins found in the egg yolk help hold the dough together, while the albumin found in the egg whites support the forming of the bubbles. Finally, the cooling process. Cooling is the last step of the recipe and is the last step of the chemical reaction and is vital to attain that beautiful brown color that chocolate chip cookies are known for. The cooling stage is noted by the color change in the cookie from a light brown to a dark brown. This is due to the caramelizing of the sugar molecules. Also in the cooling process, the structure of the cookie developed by the gluten and egg is set. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe for more.